Yeah, I'm telling you right now, yeah. Fuck all Disney princesses. Yeah, fuck
It's all
that,
about fairies and
all about
butterflies.
fairies, gang.
Fairy gang,
And let me tell
fairy
you something,
gang.
fairies ain't sweet, you understand? They ain't sweet. None of that maple syrup
Pepper
shit. They come in with a hot sauce. But listen, you know
Wow.
what I'm saying? Pepper your clock room, boy.
Look at you.
I just came as my natural essence because I'm now like embodying who I feel like I am inside, like
Yeah,
just
definitely.
very. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing a couple of poems. One is like a little, in fact they were both a little heavy in contrast to the outfit. The first one is on rape culture, trigger warning, and the second one is on my difficult breakup. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you can find me on Instagram at Reya Saint. That's REYA.SAINT because I am a saint.
Okay.
Yes,
Halos.
See an angel.
Yes, you can.
Host
They told you fairy tales were a lie. I'm telling you, it's the truth. You
I'm in the
understand,
flesh,
right here.
please.
She
In the flesh, in the
She
flesh, so, in the
right
flesh.
here. You understand? Yeah, I'm telling you right now. Yeah, fuck all Disney princesses. Yeah, fuck
It's
all
all
that,
about fairies
right?
and
All about
butterflies.
fairies, gang.
Fairy gang,
And let me tell you
fairy gang.
something, fairies ain't sweet, you understand? They ain't sweet. None of
Pepper
that maple syrup shit. They come in with a hot sauce.
We know the media's views more than we know ourselves. So when you pin your opinions, ask yourself, what shape are you? I felt like a square running in society's circles, knowing that my shape never matched society's edges. My mind lay horizontal to the sunset, therefore the thinking of this sun never set. But when it was time for me to grow, I knew my life had to change. Stop thinking horizontally and start thinking vertically. That's the only way to climb ladders. Expand my mind past my limitation. Because staying in my lane is detrimental to my mental. It means you're boxed in, don't get rooted to the square. Embrace all of it and try angles. I'm not obtuse in the fact I'm making my own way. You will never acutely shorten me. I'll pick the right angle. Started to look at my own value to see if I was in shape. Am I regular or irregular? Am I society's visual or individual? So that shape that I thought I was decided to stretch out and become rectangular. I stopped leaning on life like a rhombus became robust because I knew if I didn't understand myself, I wouldn't understand anybody else. I knew if I didn't understand my own value, I'd forever be shortchanged. So the ladder that I decided to elevate on was built out of self-worth. My esteem steamrollers over cynical critics who claim I'm high as a kite when I touch the sky to catch diamonds. But just know that I'm only human. I'm not royalty. Crowns don't need to exist. Only Jay-Z and Kanye watch the throne. You see, my scepter gone because I've shaped myself around humility and equality. All my sides are balanced. You can't see vertices out of my corny as no status can describe my stature. Because the shape I'm in has no name. It's individual to the person. So when you look in my heart to find stars, what do you hope to seek overall? The spherical is hysterical. I'm not even more rounded. And there are so many slices around my hemisphere that I'm half of what you think. Yeah, I keep going and I keep pushing because I'm not going to stop now. I'm not going back to the horizon because these days they call it flatlined. I'm climbing out the cube. I was thinking outside of the box, that trapeze. That's when they're quick to throw you into that prison. So the shape of you that you're sharing is only shaped by you. You see, life may carve crooked boulders, but it's your internal that allows yourself not to be hollow. Fill frequencies with others and create parallel lines with interwoven paths. Trust me when I say my brain cells can never be brain celled. My body is adjacent to the way my mind speaks. So sometimes I have to sit within the shape I created. Rubik shuffle a way that has me adapting to the shape I want to be. My history may lay dormant within the pyramids or redefined within my DNA. But if I don't heal the helix that created this shape of body and mind, then I've only got myself to blame, but my negative opinions start to play Tetris. You see, people may help you when they see the shape you're in, but none are going to make sure that you're shaped around progression. That one starts with you. So when you decide to the cylinder, You're allowing yourself to put the chips on the table, forge a structure of shapes that cannot be budged or toppled. To deconstruct yourself only to build yourself up again takes time. You will feel free dependent on what you decide to do, but please do it for the sake of yourself. Because knowing what shape you want to be can contour your life into different formats, but before you do, just ask yourself, what shape are you?
Happiness is watching a 6-year-old have more courage than you. Happiness is looking up to a 6-year-old for a confidence boost. Happiness is your name, even though it rhymes with petal. So innocent and kind, but still rocking to heavy metal. Happiness is breaking stereotypes. Happiness is not caring whether or not you're liked. Happiness is just doing you. Happiness is staying true to who you are and what in life you want to do. Happiness is giving charity. Happiness is helping families. Happiness is saving those in tragedy as rapidly as you can. Happiness is helping a heavy heart get heaved up. Happiness is found in those times you feel you've got good luck. I don't believe in luck. I believe in fate. I believe in balance. That means the good days cancel out the bad days. I know happiness to be in the small things, happening all the time in every place. Happiness is seeing a pretty face at the airport, knowing you won't see them again. Happiness is that first sip of coffee. Happiness is knowing you probably never win the lottery, but trying anyway. Happiness is hope. To hope is to dream. Happiness is believing you'll see those that have passed in your dreams. Better yet, you'll see them in the life of the unforeseen. Happiness is to believe. Happiness is dreaming dreams in 20 years you'll reach. Happiness is gaining knowledge, for the purpose of knowledge is to seek. Happiness is embarrassing yourself and being able to laugh at yourself, being able to cringe as bad as I might have felt. Happiness is asking for help and taking care of your mental health. Happiness is fighting for justice, especially just in this world of injustice which we live. Happiness is sharing your flowers. Happiness is your power to empower. Happiness is doing 3 selfless things a day, expecting nothing in return. Do me a favor. If you're hearing this, do 3 selfless things every day and expect nothing in return. Happiness is in the scenery. Happiness is being me. Happiness is staying completely focused on your grind, not caring about whose grass is green. Happiness is standing in a food court, looking like a clown, wearing a red or white striped polo shirt, but never letting your head down. Happiness is your friend being better at your job, Rohan. Happiness is your friend being better at your job, even though you've been on the job 10 more minutes. Happiness is in the small wins. Focus on the joy it brings, and only that. Happiness is giving a man a flower. Happiness is taking your friends out on dates because why not? Happiness is to share goodness. Good vibes in a good place. There was a time I was not in the bestest place for 10 days, and somehow with the right person and the right place, I really made life go the other way. Happiness is in the behind the scenes. Happiness is the footage that should never be seen, and for that reason and that reason alone, has to be seen. Happiness is being inspired to do social experiments. Happiness is in everything you place sentiment. Happiness is to love is to be free. Happiness is forcing yourself to love until you laugh completely naturally. Happiness is the face you find comfort in, the name in which you find solace to alleviate your suffering. Happiness is posing for the camera just for the chance it might be on. Happiness is assuming you look good until proven wrong. That's how I live my life, and I think that's how you should too. This is what happiness means to me. Tell me what it means to you.
One more time. Yeah.
So, I'm a bit nervous today, so bear with me. So I wrote this, I got 5 minutes, I think. 5 minutes? Okay, cool. So I wrote these 2 for, supposed to do a piece for Black History Month, so, and it was based around the colour theory. Can you guys hear me properly?
Maybe bring the mic up a little bit, man.
You're taller than the mic.
Yeah, I could kneel,
It's
but
different though, because you're usually taller.
That looked nice. Thank you very much. You know as I write short pieces, that's why. So this one's for the canvas of life. So what are the 2 most important colours? And what are the easiest colours to paint? Black and white. Even now creating you this. Every one of us is fooling this. What? See, this is the problem with having a shit handwriting. So every one of us fell into the spectrum between. If we were made in his image, do we think the same? Then do we all live in the same grey area? Our brains mostly grey matter. So is that why we pretend not to see what is clear, what's black and white? Handwriting gets better here. Let's paint a picture. A picture of our realities. Life as our muse, a picture of black and white. So we can see clearly, see injustice and injustice. No, I prefer to paint a happier picture. Would you accept of the different, I don't know what I'm writing, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A painting of all the vibrant colors, no one left behind. If the canvas is left as it is, wouldn't that be boring? Is that the world you actually prefer? I know you don't, I feel you don't. You wear your heart on your sleeve, so every time you paint, you stain the canvas. In this instance, red doesn't mean stop. Acknowledge the blood you spilled. Use the sins of your past to paint a better picture. Acknowledging right from wrong. The only scripture in this studio is painting the right picture. So, the next one. I don't have a title for this one, and my handwriting is not as bad, so I wouldn't be stopping in between. Thankfully. As children, we all had colour books. Truly colourblind, we paint what we felt onto a thought where the right colours went. That's prejudice, right? Now as adults, we claim to be colourblind, but you learn what colours not to like. All that experience and still can't make the right judgment. You really can't see the colours of my injustice. So I stand here with words like glasses, the kind that help you see what's right and wrong. Now that you can see, I hope you all pick the right colour. I hope you pick the red pill. So in this matrix, Neo wouldn't be the only one. And that's it. Thank you.
My name is jaycdotc. But tonight I am your midnight poet. The poet of the dark, the writer of the night, the whisperer of tones, the bearer of truths. I am my own demon at bay. I am your midnight poet. I will start off with a new piece I've written called Shards of Coal. Wondrous eyes that seem so dim. A place of tranquility is one I can never seem to win. As in this lotto draw of life, my numbers have already been picked and the cash-in is just this existence I live. I drag my carcass sometimes from door to door, a skeletonian walking on all fours, forever searching for a home that was ours and not just yours, but according to my ticket, I should forever roam. But I'm sick of punching in these times forevermore, so I guess I'll just have to settle down with whatever's dawned. With this predetermined fate I saw within, noticed the lack of love and, well, I wanted to give in. I saw the truth behind my trauma and stopped keeping it at a glimpse. And now my pain rides high to the eyes, praying for the love that I was lacking. But I know that love will never come. So now I need to make the ultimate transition from bitterness to peace. I know maths may be hard, but this seems like a doable addition that I can clock in at a breeze. As I start to focus on my own conditions and stop searching for this magical lease. And whilst I keep on mining, looking for that gold, it seems my bitterness was not a surprise. I only found shards of coal. And it's in this pursuit of ambitions, of my dreams and goals, I seem to discover more of what I thought was to never be my home. As in this foundation of I is corrupted by stones, not of infinity, but more of pits of shallows. As I'm an avenger of destruction, so this is the avenue I'll go. And darkness always leads to light, or well, that's just what I'm told. So if I get there eventually, I'll be sure to let you know, but in this high time, I'll be sure to be going with the flows. Me and my shards of coal wandering in these pitiful lows, forever searching for that pressure to make a diamond that I can forever call my home. Thank you. I'm not normally one to explain a piece before it's told, but I believe this piece has a lot of kind of emotion behind it. This is about domestic abusive relationships and how, you know, some people can literally get in your head and change your psychology and your chemistry to be the person that you never thought you was going to be. This is called The Poet's Confession. Not guilty by virtue of demonic possession. Paranormal ghosts set the scene. She kept the private affair close in her humble confession, considering they were so clean. Not guilty by way of possession. It was a one-horse town interior. Church bells tolled in season, and in view of myself, I was inferior. Pitiful cries delivers pitiful nights, sending the ghost insane. Screeching the wise and claiming the blind, they lead the known to plain. Not guilty by way of possession, I saw the crime itself. Not guilty by way of possession, the puppet of angels and elves. Thank you.
Poems. A poem is not a delicate dying flower in the palm of your clenched hand. It's a bear trap on your mind that refuses to let go.
You need to say that again. That was very, very, very
Thank you.
inspirational.
Read that. A poem is not a delicate dying flower in the palm of your clenched hand. It's a bear trap on your mind that refuses to let go. A poem is a grenade with its pin pulled, waiting to explode your grey matter and reveal your thoughts as string theory. The only thing that's intact is your heart, but barely. A poem does not yield or concede. It's ever persevering in the dark. It grows slow like crystal and blooms like jasmine in the nighttime. It's compact like diamond carbon bonds and changes states like water, taking forms at will. It is the voice that tells you unequivocally yes, while the outside world is telling you no. It is the breaker of ceilings, the dream you never knew you had, but always dreamt. It's the crooked crown in a smile, the crack in a picture frame, the one ugly cry that everyone happens to see. It's the bulletproof ideals that wear ugly truths on its back while lies are draped in delicate flammable fabrics. It feels like dancing in the rain barefoot, walking on hot coals, stripping down to your bones and throwing up your soul. The soft smile born in the breath of the wind. The barbed wire around your chipped porcelain heart. Poems live and die in the moment, but are forever eternal. That incandescent feeling of burying the soul with no clothes, the truth played out with no shows. Unlike lies, what is true does not fabricate. The truth requires no audience. Lies need believers. Poems belong to the quote-unquote unachievers, underdogs, underground, under God, but over mountains. Poems. They are sown as seeds that become plantlings, then shed as cuttings and grafted onto souls. Plant enough of these, they become poetries that sprout pages of leaves that become the metaphorest.
So here it is, Friday night. Gary's looking for a sesh. So he's hit the pub and waiting for it to become a fucking delight. Now Pete's walked through, he's alright, back the white, he's the shining knight. Excited for tomorrow to be a rewrite from feeling like utter shite. Because it's never just 1, 2 or 3, meaning we stay till 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Now we're morning. But let's rewind it back to 1 when the pre-drinks at work were getting fun. Liquid lunching, munching, crisps and peanuts on a stomach that's 7 pints of Carling. Dave is fucking flying. Look at him. Ha ha, you joker. Right, where's next? Who's closer? Steve volunteers his Trinkets. Smashed on the way back, grabbed some tins, then called a cab. Oi, boss man, you got the orcs. There's always one that's got to sort out the tunes. How long's it going to take? Before we know it, there he breaks. Up the stairs, into the lair, pre-drinking substance beginning. Grab the keys, we're only teasing. It's 5 now, so let's just stay here, then go pub in a bit. Then the time flies when the fun is in full swing. Now let's herd everyone like a pack of sheep. Now grab the bolt into the Swan's Inn, and this is where we catch up with Pete and Gary, who we know will run it, so let the party begin. Just a couple more scores, my bank is going to be sore, but that's tomorrow's worries, not now's worries. What's the time? 9, 10? Or who's on what next? Or we can't go revs, we ain't got the right trainers. No bubbles, they say, that's why it's always filled with dickheads with chinos. So let's just sack it off and go mojitos. Oh, what? It's fucking shit there. Well, that's why it's good. Who's got the food? Dave does, now Pete has too. Well, we're going to need more to get that in before. Just rolled into the AM and the club is packed. Floor is covered in talent and pervs. Dave can't dance, Steve is chewing, Pete is ordering, Gaz is necking pints, sadly. Women aren't his forte. To be fair, they ain't for anyone in this game. So Pete's got the Jaegers, let's go toilet, then have a fag. Smoking area be in the main room for the stags. Club's closing, but we're still chasing the night's high. Fine, we can go back to mine. Now, as Dave said this, he knew he instantly regretted it, but he can't go back now to bring on the 4 AM sins. Cap number 3 has a surge charge. Didn't help when Gaz was trying to give it large. Fuck it, open the door, give me the medicine. I need the cure. Hey, look who's found a spare baggie. Top ups in need for sure. Fuck, that's K. Oh no, I'm trying to stay away from that shit. Fuck, sorry mate, I didn't know. Now we're all bugging out, wonky and insecure. As time slows, I don't know what's in store. Don't think I'm ready for reality just yet. So let's just call in for more, but no one's answering. Fuck, what's the time? 8 AM. Oh, let's call it there. The light's shining bright and the crust in the nose is feeling kind of dodgy, but let's see how we're feeling for next Friday night, shall we? So this one is called Killing a Mockingbird. Gemma is watching telly. Unwinding from the day, she's popped open a bottle of vino to calm her mind from the thoughts that make her feel like jelly. It's a Dino Pinot she got from Tesco's for her and Jack. Scanned her club card, £5, put that in the sack. Track trace, Jack conveniently had to isolate. But that's okay, she wanted to catch up on Corrie anyway. Holds the glass, sips to her dry lips and lets the warmth of percent go through her chest, looks to her left, call come through from Steph. Half-pissed Gem now knows that this won't be the Friday night she'd suspect. The devil in her mind's high, bells back her main girl and sighs. But let's fast track now, 3 bottles down, 9 PM to the Swans Inn, cabs here, steps round, tequila! Mocking that bird with the fake lashes and the kissed foundation lines. Steph's insecurities trickled down her spine, intentionally stabbing backs, as she hasn't found a way to process her own shit sack, which is why her love lacks empathy and care. Who's that that's called Gemma Stare? Some dickhead with a ticket. What better way can they flirt their rejection away? But the bubble trainers make their way out, escaped into their own state. Molly's flaked, Steph's pissed and pissed. Her mouth now is starting to hiss. Always makes out she ain't got no money and spends it all on shoes and bags and wants me to feel sorry. And in this moment, Gemma looked at her mate, reflecting, analysing what she's saying and why she's playing, leaving poor old Tips Gem displaying dismay, discouraged with what to say. And Steph keeps harping on, but in Gemma's mind, the noise turns white. Looking into Steph's eyes, she could see the pupil pain and the wiring in her friend's brain. Taking a step back and seeing how Steph is echoing her fears on others' chambers, making her realise that she needs to be her own saviour, asking herself, is this really what I want to be around? Shitty behaviour. And she don't blame her for her dickhead ways, but has seen that now the length of her arm is the distance needed to make her own growth charge. And seeing as though Steph has a long way to go, she's got to cut ties with what's not helping her anymore. So Gemma gets up and waves au revoir to toxicity, leaving Gemma vexed and ticked off. I'm sorry, babe, I think that tequila has set me on. You fucking joking. I'm not coping, I'm slowing, knowing she's really growing. Stumbling across for a doner and chips, Gemma stuffs her piss smile and dips. In the cab back home, giving off her big main character energy in her self-absorption epiphany. Treating each stair like a mountain, she knows she can conquer anything. Profounding. Rattle bag, key and door, tights off, joggers on. This wasn't the Friday night she'd suspected for sure. Leaving her drunk pig snore to be the sound of tranquility. Peaceful in peace. Missing a call from Jack, leaving a message, look forward to seeing you when I can. I have a dating plan.
Woo! Hi everyone, this one's called Abba, which means dad in Bengali. I idolised you as a young kid. I used to take the comb and run it back through my hair like you did. I wanted to be just like you. But at night you were out, gambling and whoring, without a care for your wife nor your children. I would peer out my bedroom window,
wishing you had come home before the sunrise. But with no car in the drive, I knew what awaited. To be awoken by the sounds of my mother screaming, "Where have you been?" and the shrieks from the subsequent beatings. Is it any wonder I grew up so angry? This world is cruel and nobody loves me. As I grew older and bigger, I could no longer cower beneath my pillow. With heart racing, I would sprint down those stairs. I will be your shield, mother, for you to take cover. There is no greater pain than to witness those tears streaming from her eyes. Outside of these walls, only silence, not a prayer for the children trapped in domestic violence. The only way to end this hurt, I thought, was to bury you myself. My mind corrupted with visions of a homicidal nature, but I am no killer. Instead, I enacted the coldest revenge. One day, I'll make you realize that you have lost a son. For years, I did not speak, I just watched. I sat there and watched as you aged, as your health deteriorated, and as your mind crumbled to leave an empty husk of a human. Just desserts. The plan had worked, but was it worth it? No. These wounds remain open, my heart still broken. The only way to end this hurt once and for all is through forgiveness. This vicious cycle ends here with me. I look in the mirror and I am proud of the man I've become all on my own. But I can still see the little boy who just wanted his Abba. Thank you.
When I share my body with you, it is an extension of my love for you. This tender intimacy and this deep love we share is one we have been searching for all these years. For when we share our feelings with each other, we learn together and grow together. For when we share our souls with each other, we are no longer two, but one. I have always loved to appreciate every part of you. For my body is an extension of my soul. And it wants to show you how much you mean to me with every stroke of my fingertips upon the ridges of your back. Every time I nibble upon your soft, warm cheeks. Every moment I rest my tired head between your lovely breasts. Every second spent holding you tight within my arms. And every time I press my lips onto your own, as I savor the sweetest nectar trickling gently from your sanctuary. There is only one woman I want to exchange my sacred energy with, and that is you, Well, if you wish to receive it, become one with me, and together we shall spend an eternity in the garden of paradise. Every moment I spend in your arms, I offer my thanks to the kind, beloved universe. For she has brought us together, and in our sweet little moments of passion and ecstasy, we have realized how much we need each other. Where have you been all my life? You were here all this time, but I never realized how close you really were.
It's called Fall. Oh fall, you fall with hues of summer and scents of spring. You remind me of all that was but is no longer. You remind me that all that matters is my roots. My leaves, they leave me, my roots ever ground me, anchoring me to what is truly here, now, me. I am all that ever was and all that shall remain. You remind me to let go of all that is temporal, temporary absence, activation of appreciation. As I shed, I know I re-emerge, taller, stronger, bolder, but only since my roots are forced to deepen, to find within me what I once found outside of me. In the end, I finally grasp that what is outside of me is merely a reflection of the greatness held within me. Oh, Fall, thank you for always giving me a second chance to come back to myself after losing myself, to continue to remember that I am all that ever was and all that shall remain. Thank you.
Observing analytically through continuance, subconsciously swerving humanity, self-abnegation in this sphere of animation that's based on a foundation of fear, protecting my essence inversely. Here is the entirety I never faced. My subliminal existence is due to your resistance. So let go, ego, because I'm just so fucking over. The self-denial with no distinction of deserving. Reserving gives dominance to somebody else. The misapplication in serving, the limitations that I put on myself. I'm bored of the broken record. These repeated patterns that loop endlessly will play it safe for eternity if I don't change it up. So I'm taking Lady Luck along for the ride. I've got my guardian angel by my side. I'm learning how to tune into the moment. When I'm connected to source, I feel it. This love, this power, it's potent. For a hot minute, I'm in it before you pull me out. You won't release me to the moment you rodent gnawing through me with self-doubt. Scratch with your pitter-patter claws. Skitter-scatter meditations, I can't escape, I'm yours. Chitter-chatter, knitter-natter, chatting shit that doesn't matter, ruminating, conversating, always wanting more. You may win the battles, but I will win this war. Not today, you say, not today. Today you stay that little girl lost in the woods, hiding under hoods, missing all the goods. Why can these healing hands help others, but not myself? I take another self-help book from off the shelf. All this psychological understanding, and I'm still not landing on my feet. You won't let me complete forgiveness. You love to witness that I'm still not over this. My thoughts aren't even real. I know you don't exist, yet you still stop me from connecting to universal consciousness. This was supposed to be my power piece, but you took over the pen. There you go, my ego, playing tricks on me again. Because every time I raise my my vibration, you get closer to annihilation. So you assist dark forces in a bid to keep me low. You block my flow, you just won't let me go. Not today, you say. You won't even let me pray. But I know my guides are near, I hear them buzzing in my ear. Why won't they pull me out of this to universal consciousness, a place of bliss? You don't exist. But it's up to my free will to kill the negativity that you instill. I will get out of the woods. I can see past the trees. I can get to the other side. I could do it with ease, but the sad truth is, I don't really want to leave. You're all I've ever knew. You're all I've ever really knew. Being blue kinda suits me. It's being happy that feels weird. And what will be left of me if all this disappears? I can get myself up here, but the need to lower the tone overwhelms me. This is my comfort zone. Depression is my cloak of protection. Alienation is a good old charmer. Apathy is my shield of armor, and I wear it well. But I'm coming out my shell now. I'm coming out my shell. Splitter splatter, these defenses, they don't serve me anymore. Ego state, you no longer hold my fate. Today I celebrate the dissolution of your vivacity. Taking responsibility in the dissipation of your importance, I embrace the coherence of absolution. Sacred spirit sparkle. In gratification, obstruct adversity. So I can be the best version of me, receive the jubilation of prosperity, past life's tests, to believe in my ability, my ego state. I must put you to rest.
My name is Sydenham, also known as Chidi 3S. I'm a visual artist, poet, and art tutor.
Wait, say it, Chidi what?
Chidi 3S.
You spicy as a motherfucker.
But like I said, I'm a visual artist, poet, art tutor as well. Check me out on Instagram. Come meet me after if you like what you hear, guys. So I'm gonna start off reading one because I can't remember this one. I read it a few years ago and it's titled Universe. Okay. Only seen with inner vision, a place where all my inhibitions get left behind, an escape to find, landscapes pre-designed, yet untainted by mankind. Liberation redefined and unaffected by time, an uncontrolled state of mind, populated by lines with no order and spaces with no borders. A vacation of fabrication to a nation that trades only inspiration. Where subjects of no sovereign morph through metaphors. A commotion of emotional dispersion. A festival of adjectival perversion. Where fact is no different from fiction and diction is the only jurisdiction. That's where I go when I'm quiet, to my universe. That's it, that's the first one. Sorry guys, the mic is tipping low. Here we go. So as it's Black History Month, I wanted to share a poem about my identity as a mixed person. It's called Third Culture. I wrote it for a platform called Mixed Race Faces as a poetry kind of collaboration. It's very short as well. Black on one side, but white on the other. Yet always the other. I love being Nigerian, I got that from my mother. But I remember how in Nigeria, some people refused to believe she was really my mother. You see, I came out of her womb, but we were two different colors, and two different people with two different struggles. I've moved from place to place, and I've been called different names. Half-caste, light skin, even Shabin. But it just feels like everywhere I've been, the thing that stood out the most was my skin. Nonetheless, that just gave me a reflective perspective of what truly lies within. Now, I'm proud to be mixed, because I know I'm where two cultures meet and a new one begins. Thank you very much, guys. So this next one is called Rebel.
like rebel. Excuse my accent, I have a strange accent, guys. Rebel, like rebellion. Not like rubble, like stone or, yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna get straight into it. Oblivious in their attempts to guide us, but what they fail to realize is the advice they provided on our vices only demises the brightness of the light inside us. Kills the life inside us until there is only ice where warmth once resided, until they tend to grow violent and lose their voices and vice versa, until we all break free from the same inertia and we act out, rapidly illuminating all the negativity we had once blacked out. And we say we can never back down and let them turn our suffering and scars back into stats. How? So we put on these bright colors so we never fade back into the background. They stay hating, we stay patiently waiting for karma to come back round. Presented with what they perceive to be only shallow adolescents desperate to circumvent actuality. They have no sense of what our impertinence actually represents. So for all our openness, judgment is the penalty. They attempt to suppress our individuality, driving our society further towards insanity, until the point where we lose all clarity and we can no longer see where their intentions lie. Actually, we see only lies. But when I look around me, I'll tell you what I see. I see activists raising placards and fists to fight for unity. I see entrepreneurs grinding 9 to 5 to uplift their entire community. I see spiritualists meditating, praying. I see intellectuals debating and educating. And all together, we're collectively raising our consciousness to new levels. And they look at us and still see just rebels. Thank you very much. Okay, so this next poem is inspired by my mother, who I lost when I was 17. And it's one of those situations where you don't really know what you have till you lose it. So it's like an appreciation. But I also want to dedicate it to the other love of my life, my fiancée Bongi. We wrestle this chicken together, guys. We wrestle the chicken together. Yo, that is couple goals. Hey! He just kills chickens. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna get straight into it. So, she rises before the sun, wiser and older. Each passing day adds weight unto her already burdened shoulders. And even as her nights grow colder, she stands on the front line with her soldiers, waging a never-ending war against the harsh realities of life. She represses all the pain she possesses in attempts to adorn the ones under her dominion, and yet they still scorn her with their misplaced opinions. Nonetheless, they never deter her from the path she was always destined to be on. Both the ruling class and the labor force of her economy, with a golden heart and an iron fist, through whatever anarchy afflicts her monarchy, she persists. Unconditionally kind, but not only to her kind. Undeterred in her loyalty. These are the elements of her eminence and royalty. And though she's not a perfect human being, she strived to do her best for me by any means. And for that reason, she is and will always be my queen. Can you tell I'm a mama's boy? So the last piece I'm gonna do before I jump off the stage. Am I okay for time? Okay.
You are fine.
Okay. Maybe I might squeeze one more in if I have time, but do this one. It's called Fruition. It's one of the first poems I ever performed. It's one of my, I love sharing it with people, so I'm gonna get straight into it too. So, what is a personality? If there's no longer anything personal about it. If we're nothing more than the reflections of society that we need to be. We say we were all born free, yet we enslave ourselves to these bills and fees in the quest for pay rises, maybe even uni degrees. We say we're chasing a better life, although that is a term that will forever remain undefined. We all seem so eager to fall in line that our individuality becomes undermined. So what good is my first impression if all my self-expression has been reduced to this prosaic mosaic made from the broken pieces of freedom we flee from? We're striving ever so hard to conform, and we're straying never too far from the norm. Although this persistent resistance defies the very nature to which we were born. We're constantly torn because part of our existence will always be based on the need to belong. So we just sit there. We let all the hate and all the fear occupy the Earth's atmosphere. Like the air we breathe, we respire it. It runs through our systems as we become victims of the day-to-day stress, as we dress to impress under discreet duress. We work until we're depressed, ruined by the influence of affluence when truly we were all born blessed. What we must try not to forget in this life full of regrets is that being true to yourself, that's the only true success. What we must try not to forget in this life full of regrets is that being true to yourself, that's the only true success. I'll do one more short one. It's called Your Light, okay? And I think it's self-explanatory. Standing in your own radiant glow, you only see the dark shadows which you've cast. Somewhere in between a bright future and a dark past. Wondering which one is really you. Wondering if all you do has had purpose. Has it all been worth it or just worthless? But a building can never know the strength of its own concrete, just like a fire can never feel warm from its own heat. The same way you could probably never see your light from your own point of view. So I urge you to shine and shine bright, whatever that means to you. Because this world gets cold and it gets dark, and we all need your light. Thank you very much.
Hi everybody, my name is Reya. I'm going to share a couple of poems with you today. Trigger warning for this one, it's on like rape culture, so if that's something you would prefer not to hear, then it goes on for about 5 minutes, so pop out if you would prefer to. It's called This Dress, and it's about a dress that I wear when I don't want to be bothered by anybody. It gets up to about here, and it's like all the way down to my ankles. It's like really baggy, and it's sort of my just please don't look at me, just go away type of dress. Cool. This dress is my chastity belt, being swallowed by my clothing in the hopes that you don't want to chew me up, and I won't have to get spit out. Won't have to wash off your wet disgust. No amount of washing can rinse away that deep-seated feeling that becomes buried in the core of your being when you've been used by another without so much as a formal greeting. This dress is my prayer, that you won't put your hands on me. Box shape below the waist, I figure you'll be less interested if you can't picture this figure 8, but much like the figure of 8, your imagination is infinity. I try to give you nothing, but you insist on giving giftless gazes that the hairs on my neck feel before I catch you looking in my periphery. Grateful for this intuition.
grateful that I'm guided, grateful that I know that no matter what I do to attempt to prevent you, the only real prevention is one-sided. Just another woman doing the heavy lifting to prevent rape from a rapist. Just another reminder that the burden of misogyny is not carried by misogynists. This dress is my plea. That I won't be undressed by the eyes of bystanders, because this dress is my hope to be covered in a cloak of invisibility. Less chance of you seeking what you can't find. More chance of you diverting the direction of your eyes. I hope, emptily, but alas. It seems your interest is piqued by perversion, piqued by the obvious aversion to the attention that you give so generously. Despite the fact that my demeanor couldn't scream any louder, please take your eyes off of me. Please, stop before your first step. I feel it coming before you take that first footstep to invade my space. I've seen this scene before. It's written all over your face. I know that expression, and I see hope as empty as mine. Almost like you know I'm not interested, but still you try your luck and walk over to waste my time. I've felt this feeling before, but it doesn't give me deja vu. Every time this happens, the fear, though familiar, seems to somehow feel new. Never a way of knowing which way this will go. Never a way of telling if they'll actually accept the answer, no. And no amount of experience in this scenario can prepare you for the unpredictable, so I swallow the words I want to say like a tough pill and instead present a polite smile I hope will appease enough to soften the rejection. Tell him I have a boyfriend as I sit there with my girlfriend. Tell him I don't need more friends when he tells me that's all I wanted to be anyway. Hold back the laugh, wanting to make its way out. Wish him well and hope he'll just walk away. You know, I've heard a man's greatest fear of a woman is that she may laugh at him. And a woman's greatest fear of a man is that she may die by his hand, so I bite my tongue and do what I feel this type of situation demands. Uncomfortable cooperation, carefully maneuver the situation to avoid your humiliation. Smile, thank him for his appreciation, and wish him a good night. Because I fear, if I give him the cold shoulder involuntarily, then the rest of my body may grow cold involuntarily, because your embarrassment may take from me my most precious gift, my life, this breath, untapped moments of bliss. And it's in moments like this that I am reminded that this dress is nothing more than an outfit. And no outfit fits the form of protection. So it's about time we stop discussing what women are wearing when we discuss rape and rape prevention. This next poem is called 1/3 of the Ending. I'll just jump in. Always be wary of words that come from the wounded. Sights from sore eyes have the propensity to view things from a lens that's just a little bit convoluted. Yes, they speak their truth, but truth and fact are not quite the same. You see, truth has a perspective, but facts remain unchanged. There's 3 sides to every story, and truth lets you choose whichever lens you wish to view from, but facts can tell you if and when you've got the view wrong. My truth is that you're hurt by your own perspective, because my actions have always been well-intentioned, and it's never been my intention to cause you hurt or heartache. When we broke up, we decided mutually to stop before we got ahead of ourselves to ensure we weren't headed for heartbreak, but months down the line, cracks start to appear in places I thought everything was fine, so I've found for myself what the script said to be true. That when a heart breaks, nah, it don't break even, because between us two hearts that once used to be whole, we're now two hearts divided and unequally too. They say, other people's opinions of you are not your business. I've been minding your business for so long, taking on your responsibilities as if they were my own, that it hurts more when you say hurtful things about me, and that's why your opinions of me are the hardest ones for me to detach myself from. I guess that's why I've tried my best not to hurt you. Not that that's something you would ever say, because the dirt on your lens obstructing your view has convinced you that I'm disrespectful for coming home from my date past your curfew. We're in a bit of a mad situation. We've been broken up for about 8 months, but still very much treated each other like we did when we were in love, if not even better. Because since we broke up, all those old relationship pressures that used to pull us down were finally lifted up. No longer was our love locked down. Decided to lift those restrictions. When I move on, to you I've become the perpetrator and you the victim. I can't make a right move without hurting you while we live together in the same house. Every move I make just makes living with you harder, and each day we get farther past the point that you should have moved out. Every day feels like a roller coaster, more passa, and I'm not into that hoopla. Wish it could just be as cheap and easy as finding a cheap and cheerful for you on Zoopla, cause we could do with some space. We've both been on the market for a while, but you've kept me in your basket hoping that maybe we'll make it past the checkout. Don't think you ever fully prepared to put me back on the shelf to be picked up by anybody else, so now it's like the bricks of our relationship are turning purple like bruises. There's nothing prime about this location that we're in. And no matter what I do, my next move will result in me losing, so maybe it's time I fully chose myself. Stop considering your feelings entirely, because it's not like it's helped. Whether I choose you or I choose myself, we both seem to lose just the same. And God rest her soul. I finally understand what Amy Winehouse meant when she said that love is a losing game. Everything that reminds you I'm with her hurts you, and I know that hurt people, so maybe that's why you want to hurt me too. That's not a justification, just an explanation. I don't excuse or condone your behavior. Hopefully it's just a knee-jerk reaction and you're not really being a hater. Sometimes. I think I empathize too much. You called just to call me a couple of choice words, and instead of popping off, I simply locked off the call because I know that your behavior was uncalled for. I know that because of the pain you're experiencing, anger is an emotion you're likely to draw for, so I'm not going to draw out any arguments. I'd rather withdraw and let the storm ride itself out. We've been through some tough things before, but whether we'll get through this one, I have my doubts, because it's really starting to feel like you would rather hate me than accept that I've genuinely tried my best to protect you from the pain that you're bound to feel now that I've started dating. That's a harsh conclusion to come to, but I've arrived here because of the way that you've been behaving. Knowing I've been with her, you're mad when I get back home late. And even when I apologize and let you know I didn't think that it would hurt you, that anger still rolls into the next few days, and I walk around on eggshells, trying my best to make you feel guilty, but the tension still doesn't seem to dissipate. I never wanted to be the one to hurt you, but I can't help that I am. And I did all that I could at the time not to hurt you, and I just hope that in time you'll understand. Ashe, thank you so much, guys.
Alright, is that alright? Yeah. Hi, I'm Brooklyn. Simon called me Brick the Poet, but I'll let you decide if that statement is true. Hi, I'm Brooklyn. The host called me Brick the Poet, but I'll let you decide if that statement is true. I created a persona during COVID. Touch wood, I was never ill. I was raised by a British Jamaican, and the only time he spoke patois was when he was angry. So the lines, if you're not listening, you must feel. And if you can walk, you can work, were usually used. He was never ill, till my mum left. Signed off work with an everlasting sick note. I don't call depression a sickness, it's not something you can cure, it's something you live with, but suicide can end it. He told me that he sat in front of the open oven door, head resting on the gas to keep it flowing. The blood must not have been flowing to his head though, because I don't know what he was thinking. He kept his head tilted, pressed against the oven until he could taste the gas. Our dog was on his lap. I imagine it to be like the scene from I Am Legend, you know, where Will's holding his dog and it turns into a monster, but the roles were reversed. This monster would have destroyed us all. The dog was barking, it'll be okay. We can get through this. The neighbours heard the pleas for help and knocked on the door. My dad answered. Now that's what you call good timing. I never felt sorry for my dad, he ran on black man time. He was left too late. We hardly talk, but that's a conversation I wish I never had at the age of 13. I don't know how he thought my shoulders could handle the weight. I'm a Virgo. I don't know what that actually means. I'm a 5'9". Okay, maybe I'm 5'8". And I with warm milk. Long walks in jazz. I use poetry to get over my past. My notebook and pen on my psychiatrist, along with a red chair. I lay in between the lines wondering what's next. In my mind I wonder if I'm worth keeping around, or even if I'm still stay around long enough. I change jobs as much as I change my socks, but I always find a pair. I've changed jobs as much as I change socks, but I always find a pair. I moved in and out my mum so many times, and the spare room has now been turned into a study. No longer can I be a spare there, but I do study. I study and practice my craft as I have so much to say, but never know how to say it. I never know if I'll have the confidence to lift these words off the page into your ears so you can hear the frantic scribbling in the dark. I'll always choose Indian over Chinese. Cider over beer. My full name is Brooklyn Bennett. I'm a full-time carpenter, amateur poet, a 90s baby. I know that old school love beats this new age stuff, hands down. That my favourite song from that era is probably yours too. That we could all sing, let me love you word for word. I fall in love prematurely. I'm not like my father. I've already gone on amber, but I never see the red light, so I always crash and burn. My head beats out in my heart, you now listen, you must feel that my heart's deaf and speaks sign language, it only knows the middle with fingers so well. My Instagram handle is Brick the Poet, so use your fingers and tap follow if you think I might follow it.
So he's a poet, right?
Yes!
Sorry. So he's a poet, right?
Yes!
Thank you.
Yes, let's take it out now. Okay.
It's a teacher coming out.
Too much.
You ready? I haven't wrote in a while, maybe because I was always told never touch an unhealed wound, that it may get infected, that my tongue would become infectious, as hurt people, so I watch what I say, or say nothing at all. Maybe I'm scared to see how deep the wound is. I don't want to know how much love I've lost. I mean blood I've lost. Sorry I may have gone into shock. Not shocked when left on red and display pic disappeared, gone shocked. Not shocked to stood up in your own house after needing comfort in a funeral shocked. Not shocked like when I didn't like a girl's Instagram pic and got blocked shocked. No, more the shock that leaves you standing there, numb. You can call it shell shock, as if bombs have gone off around me and my friends keep shouting, keep it moving. This shit happens, there's way more fish in the sea, but this sea's full of jellyfish and sea mines. It's one sting, one explosion after another, and I'm scared to go forward, and believe I don't want to go back. And moving forward may take some time, so I stay, be patient. Shrapnel still embedded deep from the last relationship, stings from dead-end conversations. How could I give myself to someone when there's nothing left? Nothing but a good time. Let's have one more drink, maybe get some bargain. Don't worry about work in the morning. Let's grab some food. Let's do something, anything, so I'm not alone. Keep me in a good mood. And if I drown in liquor with the boys, then at least I'm not drowning out there looking for a fish. But on Instagram, my life looks hella lit. But we've always been told to smile for the camera. But what happens when the camera's gone? What happens when your friends go home to their families and I'm left alone? Alone doesn't look lonely when you smile. When you say everything's great, when it hurts to lie but the truth hurts worse. Like I don't want my friends to worry, or maybe I'm ashamed. Ashamed that I haven't got what they got. I want it all. I want the morning kisses to the arguments because I said I'd be home at 8 but I got back at 2. What we watching tonight, to have you 8 to the zipper on the back of your dress, let me get that for you. Let me be there for you the way you are for me. Let me ignore you by trying to finish off your sentence because I feel like I know you that well. Let me thread my fingers with yours while your hands on the gear stick while we drive throughs. In life, those gears we go through, I understand that going from first to sixth won't ever work out, so let's take our time. This may be a never-ending journey, but what better company? Maybe I'm too much, maybe I'm not enough, but maybe I'm just right. Don't see me as broken. Yes, I have been broken, but all my pieces make a wonderful mosaic. and broke, but all my pieces make it wonderful. Say it.
Talk to them.
I don't need you to piece me together, but I would like to be a piece of your gallery.
Okay, I've written a couple of poems for this evening, so they're new. One's completely ridiculous and one's a bit more serious. I'll start with the ridiculous one.
Do it.
As October rattles to a close, autumnal leaves fall in their droves, the masses unearth their spooky clothes and like wolves hunt out a party. Yes, in their pack, all dressed in black, horns stuck on with blue tack, they track down the haunts of the glitterati. Tipsy, tanked up, asked like a rat, needed Dutch courage to leave their flat, cause their face paint made them look like a twat, and they knew they should have just come as a cat, but were persuaded to do something arty. They find a venue to spend the night, to rave like ravens, the vibe's just right. Just enough cobwebs and plastic bats in sight. 2 for 1 offers on Aftershock Excite, despite knowing they only ever drink Bacardi. Becky's been sick and is already leaving. It was the sight of so much blood with her being vegan. She called... Becky's been sick and is already leaving. It was the sight of so much blood with her being vegan. She called Dracula a heathen whilst heaving, dressed as Morticia, now looking more like Kevin Keegan. I told you it's ridiculous. Pete's supposed to be a zombie, but has been asked the most what he's come as, so he did a toast explaining his whole costume and thanking the host. Now, he didn't like Sophie's latest Insta post and left the wrong blue tits after a dinner at Coast, so she's now telling everyone he's not a zombie, he's a ghost. Whilst dancing the time warper, skeleton bent too soon, his skinny jeans ripped and his ass was strewn into view of the crowded room, all now howling at his full moon. A warlock in the corner decided to take a little ecstasy, but in a fun dealer game of trick or treat ended up with LSD. Now he's wrestling with a pumped up pumpkin, shouting, "Frankenstein's trying to eat me!" Pete shouting back frustratingly, "I'm a fucking zombie!" The night's now ending, and what a night it's been. Faces all smeared in glitter of brownish green. It's gonna take a Brillo pad to get them clean. What that witch is doing with her broomstick is full-blown obscene. That's what's at the group. He's ended up in Aberdeen. Kay replied, her Uber driver knows her Auntie Jean. Jason's just thrown up a full hole runner beam. No, there is not a night quite like Halloween. Okay, I haven't memorised this one, sorry. This is a bit more of a serious one, so here we go.
I love juxtaposition, let's go.
The irony. Okay. As the light dwindles, an ominous feeling encroaches. Dark shadows dart, penetrating fear responses deep within. The sound of distant footsteps compound with panicked breath. Heartbeat pounding on ribcage, the air tastes like death. An icy tingle shuddering down the spine, whispered self-assurances, "You're fine, you're fine, you're fine." Escape routes meticulously planned in the gloom, an all-consuming notion of impending doom. There is evil all around, and you are its prey, and all you can do is pray that it's not your turn today. This is not a scene from a horror movie or a Halloween ghost home. This is the female reality every time we're walking home. White-knuckled fingers intertwined with metal keys, flitting eyes, hyper-aware, keeping on your toes will have you on your knees. Internal screams as a car creeps stealthily behind you. Where could it take you? Where will they find you? And it's not what we're wearing or if our hair is up or down. If that boy was brought up to respect us, he wouldn't dare touch our crown. If we weren't portrayed as hunted game, he may not have grown up a hound, advising women on how to prevent it instead of men, the message we do confound. Taught that men should be powerful and have the right to do with us what they will, that we are a lesser species and should succumb until they get their fill. And if his mates didn't talk about us as objects, if his mother had not told him to man up,
If he'd had a male non-violent role model, then maybe this would stop.
There's no other way to get into this. Basically, what this was going to be when I agreed to this is not what it is now. And that is just the way life and existence works sometimes, isn't it? So I'm going to try and give you a mix of things, and I just want to know that every single one of you that has got up and performed today has inspired me. You're all amazing, and it has made the journey here wholeheartedly worthwhile. Thank you so much. Not dead yet, and so I owe you an apology. Honestly, it's been a long time coming. Spent a long time running away, tripping along psilocybin bridges, realizing you're here to stay, and I have to say, even I am surprised by my stupidity. But then that brings me neatly to the start. To say I've been unkind is an understated remark. Often cold and demanding, impatient with our time. I have lied so many times, striving to find the right line to convince myself this is all just fine. And let's be clear, it's not. Lost sight of that. After multiple back-to-back knockbacks, but neither me nor this back will backtrack any further than it takes to stand and stay. It's me, I'm back again. Navigating challenges with sight like back again, 360 POV, but pleased to say these days I almost always remember my blind spots. I've come to learn a lot, drinking drops of light from the sun inside my solar system, knowing I am light years away from the dark side of my moon, but still there is so much more to do. And between me and you, we could go far. Really only now starting to believe in my heart. Wait, I mean Pa. No, they are one and the same. Became so tired of playing these games until my third eye helped me see right. And as I close my eyes, I find that sight beyond sight. A deeper light shines the way, aiding as I navigate through the dark days. I can sometimes be kind in times where I stumble and misplace my steps, but each not yet makes the hunger for what's next. I have to confess, I am unimpressed with the ways I have behaved towards you. Cruel doesn't really cut it, but the cliches didn't stop the cuts from coming so many times it made you sick, and I had the audacity to grow sick of you. Claiming to be sick of your shit, how is that supposed to help things? So like I said, it appears, for now at least, I am here to stay, and so I owe you an apology. There are no justifications for the ways I treated you like property. You hurt me, but those acts do not allow nor justify my actions in hurting you back. But I did. I am sick. And you knew this and still stood through all the shit, and here we are. I have broken my heart as I acknowledge the parts I have had to play in your pain. So no more running away. Now I face forward and steady my aim. It's not Cupid's bow, but it's similar. I'm no mortal in Poe, although a shimmer of Raven's eye dances inside my mind until it resides atop the chamber door. And yes, at times I waver, but I continue to rise beyond the coring climbs of nevermore. Improving aim and stride every day helped me walk side by side with my queen. Perhaps you could call me Oliver, but still I find more marvel beyond Hawkeye's sight. This new bird's eye view brings hasty perspectives, zooming into hermeneutic cruxes. Like a litany of cat's cradles cast over skin, razor wire slices entwined and tiring, as the cold has that old way of reminding. It can take some time to get warmed up. By now I thought I'd be a decade in the dirt, and corpses are too cold to do what needs to be done. Already lived a Walking Dead life, so with this apology attached to outcomes, I turn the tide on habitual patterns, and yes, at times I lose sight of what matters. But as I manifest the matter of this time, holding accountable hands to the sky, all the drugs, liquid or otherwise, do not serve to wash away the ways I despise myself. So it's only right I turn inside, uncovering ways to navigate through fog and grow through weeds. And amidst this blood and earth-stained process, my soul feeds and breathes as I seek freedom. A juxtaposition of wanting to end and ending that want. 40 fucking years of feeling uncontrollably lost, so I'm working on defrosting the coldness towards you. Working on thawing out frozen claws of doubt that pierce through. Cold blue flames lighting the way into believing this shit's been okay. So tired of the shame that swirls around in plain sight, smiling just right so things can be kept out of. But there is no pride in hiding such pain. And I refuse to continue this way. So this poem is but another step towards brighter days. See, it's only right to find new ways to fight, because despite the value of 3, and now 10 years past, I believed with all my heart it would be me to leave. I am still here. So instead of reinventing the wheel, I choose to tune into how I feel. In the wisdom knowing all along that beneath the rubble is the path to move on. It's astounding how resounding sounds can be when you believe that everything you are is wrong. But it's incredible how indelible the ink can be, rewiring lines of mind to see that to follow your heart and stand with pride and not acts reserved for one specific kind. So as mind's eyes find spotlight, heart beating, chest bellowing, resounding in the great grounding nature of being, it feels like a lie to be seeing this life as done. So how about we take it back to stage 1? Centered within the balance of challenge, empowering dreams and tangible realities to be managed. I have found magic inside, conjuring light rays as they dance and play through crystalline cathedrals of pain. And as I replace the broken bowls of my faith, the energy this creates, surging, drawn from the core, this act of earthing is akin to rebirth, and through these freshly laid roots, stepping naked and free from this cocoon, no longer searching for what to do, knowing it's not about what's past, but what you choose to do. And I choose you. I choose truth. I choose life over death, since I'm not dead. Yeah. So last year, I love like Halloween's like the only festival thing I really get behind. I love the notion of the thinning of the veil, because it allows me to speak to people that I miss. But also last year I loved writing prompts. Killer was with me on the writing prompts. This year I kind of fell out of it a little bit, but I did write one. And also, in honor of Black History Month, I want to share this with you. I think the prompt was White Skies. It's just your piece. Always loved the sight of snow falling, intricately unique, independent flakes, embraced and wholly accepted by the earth where they connect. In moments like these, white skies, realities seem contrast by many whitewashed minds, and when asked why, seem to fall silent, just like snowfall. Thank you. So I tend to be known for like positive, like healing stuff. I'm not really feeling that positive, but I am definitely going through processes of healing.
That's alright.
I try and avoid getting angry, but I'm sick of it. So this is just gonna be for our delightfully fucked up country. You're probably not all gonna like this. Full disclosure, you fucking shouldn't. And you're welcome. Oh, you're fucking him. You're probably not all gonna like this. Full disclosure, you fucking shouldn't, and you are welcome. England, you are a disgrace. There is nothing left about you that holds warmth in this place. Now, to be clear, we are accountable. It's everyone's fucking fault. Which makes it hard not to hate us most of all. Now, I didn't vote for these scum again and again and again. But we're all in this together, so might as well label myself right in. England, you are pathetic, ignorant, entitled, abhorrent and dumb. Placing blame for all our misgivings as though we're not the only ones to blame for all this misery, the poverty and death, the bile and hatred pouring forth from every news outlet. There is no fucking unity. The empire is long and dead, and for damn good fucking reason. I don't care how red your face gets. England, you are a disgrace. And what hurts all the more is that things could change in so many ways, just requires a bit more than toys you threw out of your prams being blamed on other people. Call yourself a powerful nation, you can't even feed your people. But there's money to burn in fossil fuels in the face of the homeless. There's food to throw away and room to knock down shelters. Defend institutions that care not for any of us. Just sit back with your beer and tabloid and call out one of us. England, you are a fucking disgrace, you utter vacuous hole, led by fucking sycophants that do not care at all. So England, I am telling you this, I am so sick of all your shit. Your bile and your disgusting lines, your divisive rhetoric, your gluttonous entitlement that serves to make you think that you are something special, but you simply started wrong. Scum is what you are, England. I care not if you think I am wrong, because I watch and listen patiently. I used to have some hope, but you throttled common decency out of racist, bigoted rope. You fashioned from a sense of pride I fail to understand. England, you are an utter disgrace to this once green and pleasant land. Yeah, cool.
Brother, this is your stage, man.
Oh, but we got other bits. I don't want to take up. All right. So, thank you, man. Okay, this is. Yeah, this is one I'll try and hold my shit together for. I ventured, open, vulnerable, out of choice, for fear too long force closed places that should always breathe free. I took in the air, the elements as they enveloped me, my intentions sent out into the ether and the dust. What I found appeared unbound by anything that had come before either of us. I let go as best as I could, embracing every part. Of course, the easy bits were the joy and all the laughs. Stood my ground when boundaries shook in the face of another's way, but held fast to the heart that has led me through each day. I walked side by side, hand in hand, and in those seemingly simple moments I discovered so much more than a promised land. I found the world within a world, the inner not always kind, but the outer had made me hard and cold once. Those exposures turned me blind. But as I explored this inner world, a place of my own creation, assisted in design by imagination and interaction, I found a truth that remains alongside all the pain. The pauses, simple, gratuitous pleasures as I venture along these steps I take. Sometimes unsteady in foot and limb, I realize each time I open further, I gain and lose nothing. The weight of love, when its iteration has passed, has left a chasm-like hole. But what initially appeared so dangerous and dark is now a canvas, and I know I follow my heart as I venture. I find strength from within, and perhaps at some point in time I'll encounter someone who can truly reside within. For I am a creature of feeling, emotion and energy. I'll not be ashamed of such truths, not fear these realities. And yes, it is fucking painful when you open up and believe that someone holds your heart dear, only to discover that in an instant it can all, like smoke, just disappear. But I would rather feel pain from trusting my heart and loving with all of my being than be cold and hard to the inner and outer. Because for me, there's no way I can be living. Alright. In which case, I'm going to do this one because I really wanted to do it. And if I can squeeze the other one in, we'll see. I actually wrote this a while ago. I'm just going to get into it. This is called Trinkets.
Oh, I love that title.
Cover it over in shiny trinkets, for substance is subterranean dwelling and its weight filled with helium. The brighter and bolder the shell that distracts, subtracts focus away from window soul holes where curtain poles have been reinforced to support the divorce of meaning and method. Let garments blockade socially, politically, as true meaning and well-being are placed way back in shady corners, where green, gold, silver, plastic and platinum lights shine bright to blind the sight, so no one sees the blood that drips beneath. The colour of the water that mixes is distilled in toilet bowls, and still its shit sticks to walls, where bodies and policies are thrown against and shot. Let the flames burn high and bright. Let fireworks mimic bombardments that echo relentlessly in other continents, but just without the pretty lights. Let such beautiful boundaries be placed seamlessly so cash continues to flow, regardless of resource, regardless of love, regardless of life. Let us dress up the horror show with a clean, friendly face. Designer sunglasses cover the dementia that cannot be held back through scripted lines and pre-recorded time. Let us smile sweetly to all adornments. Beautify the eyes and let all that doesn't shine die, for it's the pretty picture that cuts the deepest. As airbrush strokes slice away our humanity on so many levels, there needs to be escalators and glass elevators to see what we are leaving behind in the abattoir. And all those times as children we were told to look beyond the covers of books are met with media-tinted dirty looks, and shame can cascade like waterfalls if you let it. Torrents of chatter and flash photography have the gall and audacity to attempt to dictate all that we should be when we are already everything that is required of us. Naked, true and beautiful as the day we were born. These gold-plated chains are still bondage. Though their colours differ, we're all still slaves, and instead of justified rage, we line up in queues for the first chance meeting of the next shiny trinket. Happily eating the biscuit we're fed through the prison door, softly saying, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" Okay, last one before the Q&A bits, and I've got one last piece to see off the evening. I could tell you it's all gonna be okay, that everything will be fine. And in part, these truths age just like fine wine, but the part that seems too often missed, perhaps you could call it corked or fogged, is that nothing comes out of nothingness. You must put something into it, of course. But just because you add yourself and all that is intended does not mean for certain that these things will turn right-ended. So I could tell you it's all going to be okay, that everything will be fine. And like I already said, I would not be lying. Just remember that everything requires an element of ignition. That for every cause there is effect, and so this repetition can be looked at if you choose to like a form of revision. For every test you never wanted and every dream you have envisioned. So when it feels as though everything you know is falling down the drain, you could choose to flip that shit and it's a spiral all the same. But the question I want to leave you with, the thing I advise you ponder, is what did that initial flame create? What did it illuminate as you wandered? What can you take away regardless of how it goes? Because I promise you, there is always something. Just can take some time to show. You know, I'd never known how much joy could come from seeing two toothbrushes standing together in one mug. The way a unity of two utensils could bring about a sense of symbolism that would serve to support in low-minded solo morning struggles from the simple opening of a cupboard door. But that past tense stings, swings, sings and slices because I'd never known how much pain could come from seeing two toothbrushes occupying the same space in one mouth. Two utensils, but only one still serving a purpose. The other left holding on to hope and dried up toothpaste stains, and that day I threw it away, carried so much weight I pretty much collapsed. The unwelcomed emissions from my world like dark materials indecision, entwined with tears and memories which combine with a collusion of confusion and lack of clarity as I attempted to challenge the reality of the silence. In those spaces where audible bites had raised edges of lips to eyes so many times it had felt as close to flying as I had ever known. And if I had to die in those moments, I would have refused the universe and laughed because I believe we are to exist beyond the boundaries of reality. Dancing through deja vu multiverses, star-dusted atoms resonating throughout the expanses because such a rhythm could not be abandoned. But it seems, in spite of my beliefs, such things are presently out of reach. I am Meeksies, now 40 years too long out of its box. Existence is pain, Jerry. And to address that moniker personified, you have become the greatest teacher I have ever known. Although, like you, your methods are not always welcome, but lessons once learned do tend to stick. Those times where walking is a pattern akin to breaking bone and snapping sinew again and again, simply to try and make it to the end of each day, I decided, are the universe's way of teaching me patience, slowing me down, allowing focus to move away from lofty wants and settle down on grounded needs. And it seems at times I'm still trying to find my feet, but you have many angles of approach and subject matters to me. Your lesson plans covering far more than methods to manage psychological imbalances and anxiety-wrapped indecisions, and once learning to navigate the labyrinths a different way, shifting prisons into prisms, inspiring a new line of sight in my vision, there is a twist, a shift which drifts the pain in a way where its weight shapes lanterns of green light, to help fight the fear, see clear and hear in ways I could not before. invisible illnesses illuminated through lenses of empathy and lived understanding, so that I can reach out amidst the dark and say, we have not been abandoned. Yes, this shit is madness, but the simple fact that we are still here shows self-evident strength beyond compare, and even though the darkness makes it hard to see it, you are super heroic just by being. And I can't help but find the irony funny of how such things can isolate, and yet how vast and deep the lessons do resonate. Diversity's undeniable beauty, and yet you are the ultimate unifier, as we can all rally amidst the lessons of pain and loss. Lost sons, lost daughters, lost mothers, lost fathers, lost sisters, lost brothers, lost family, lost lovers, lost friends, lost names, lost names, lost names, lost innocence, lost faith, lost culture, lost ways. The thing with lessons is how they train. Teaching ways to wade through such tar pits as exhaustion grips, and it feels as though there's nothing beyond it, but hold on a minute. We are still here. And to those who did not make it, you never truly disappear. And yeah, in the thick of it, it can feel as though there is no air. The sheer weight of it impossible to bear, as if there is no way out or forward from here, but hold on. These lessons are not done, and those so often unwelcome do not run, for they will serve to support. And don't get me wrong, I'd be more than happy to not have gone through what has come, but since some parts of this pilgrimage have already been won, I might as well harness this lantern's light, forming fellowship so that perhaps one day we can see the relationships between one another are held and forged in all of the lessons of pain and love that have come before. And pain, in whatever shape you take, no matter the density of your weight, as long as I hold on every day, allowing each lesson to teach their way, though so often unwelcome, you are the greatest teacher I have ever known. And in hindsight, I thank you. For through you, I have come to discover truths of self that before did not show. Help others through what I know and grow, as such things do ripple outward and continue to flow. I had never known what 2 toothbrushes in 1 month can do. And I'm still here, still learning, still journeying, just like you. I am Mixie's, now 40 years too long out of its box. Existence is pain, Jerry. Wabba-lubba-dub-dub.